Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So, coming at you with Snake Eyes yet again, but it'll be a variant of Snake Eye this time. One I have been talking about for a good portion of this week now, and that is going to be the TG variant. Now, for those who might have been hoping for me playing a more pure TG deck, I might still try that at some point down the line, but as you can see, the build in particular that we have here is going to be on fairly minimal TG cards. In fact, if you look at the main deck, we have actually only 5. One of each of TG Tank Grub, Rocket Salamander, Screw Serpent, All Clear, and Close. The extra deck, however, is completely a different story. As you can see, the engine, while requiring fairly minimal main deck setup, does take quite a bit of the extra deck. Before I get too into things, I gotta give 2 pretty big shoutouts. First and foremost, gotta give a pretty big shout out to Kenny. Kenny, who submitted a game to our viewer special on Monday, featuring a very similar, actually almost the same list here. Our main deck is a few cards different, not anything too notable. I think he's on more Veilers, I'm on Drolls instead, mainly is like the big thing. Extra deck is a little bit different. I opted for more of like, excuse me, I opted for more of the links that Snake Eye would like normally play, because one thing that I do think is pretty cool about this deck is the fact that not only does our main deck require a minimal amount of TG monsters to actually pull off our combo line, but on top of that, that combo line doesn't use any resources that would take away from the normal Snake Eye line. Now, of course, we can't do like all the same plays that a pure Snake Eye deck would be doing, but with the extra deck cards that we have here, including the Baron as well as these 5 links, I think we have a pretty decent assortment. And actually, even the Baron could very easily be like another Link monster instead. I opted to include it on the off chance I have like Mighty Striker plus Flamberge, or like, you know, a level 1 Tuner plus a level 1 plus Flamberge or something like that. Or even Ash plus Diabell, you know. There's a lot of ways you can make the Baron here. Plus, I also thought that having a generic level 10 synchro option was pretty good. Although, to be fair, when you're doing your synchro climbing, if you use the Over Dragonar, which is like one of the main cards that lets us enable a massive board, or I say board of massive synchros rather, this card does lock you into TGs for the entire turn, so you're not going to be summoning generic stuff for the most part, but that's only on the turn that you do the combo line. The combo line in question is going to include everyone's favorite level 12 synchro monster, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. That's right, we are out here committing war crimes and ending people's turns. However, if you think that this variant is a one-trick gimmick that's all about pumping out the Red Dragon Archfiend Calamity, you're wrong, because you don't even need to play this card in this deck. You can definitely play Cosmic Blazar instead. This deck, and TG in general, definitely does not live and die by the Calamity. The ability to make a lot of really massive synchro monsters is, in of itself, pretty good. But, I mean, if it's between the King Calamity ending the opponent's turn when it's summoned, or the Cosmic Blazar being, like, what, 1 negate? It's like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick the Calamity here. You could definitely play both as well. Like, instead of the Baron, you could very easily be playing the, for those who are unfamiliar with Cosmic Blazar Dragon, it is this monster. As you can see, I haven't crafted one just yet. I might still at some point, but, yeah, so for the time being, I'm pretty content to Calamity, especially because, like, you might think you have to go way out of your way to Calamity. You don't. You literally don't. It's Diabell, or Wanted Searching Diabell, is a 1-card combo that will end you on the Glaive Blaster, plus the Calamity during your opponent's turn, plus the Counter Trap setup in case your opponent has a play on their turn to try to stop the Calamity from being summoned. Also, you get a grand total of 3 draws off the Hyper Librarian doing that line. So 1-card combo gets you the Calamity Lock, the Glaive Blaster, the Counter Trap, and 3 draws. So it's not even like out of your way to do this line. Let's see here. I mean, honestly, one of the other really cool things about the fact that this setup has minimal main deck investment and is a 1-card combo line also means you get to go really hard on a bunch of disruption and tools to help you in general. Like, we get to play, again, Kenny was on 3 Valor, I'm on 1 Valor 2 Droll, but we get to play that in addition to our Master Dual attacks, including the Crossout. We've got the Nibiru, we've got triple attacks, we have Imperms, we have room for it all. And of course, that's in addition to the Snake Eyes stuff. So again, if you don't even open the combo, or if you need to do a follow-up play, then you could still just pivot into like regular Snake Eye plays. In fact, the majority of the games that we're going to be seeing are me doing mostly Snake Eye stuff because, in my experience, whenever I started like synchroing a bunch of TGs, people would usually just concede in the middle of my turn 1 while doing that. So I will, however, show you the combo line. Again, I'm going to give a huge shout out to Crowley12 over on YouTube for demonstrating this combo line that I'm about to show you off here. So, okay, so as you can see, our hand here looks like a very, very typical pure Snake Eyes hand, but this is actually enough to Calamity Lock our opponent. And all you need to open, again, is either Wanted or Diabell Star. That's it. That's your 1-card combo. Well, you know, 1.5 and all that fun stuff, whatever. Actually, no, it's not because you send the Diabell. So no, this is actually just a 1-card combo. That's right, it is. 1-card combo to the Calamity Lock. Here is how to do it. Now, of course, if this were an actual duel, I would be doing the Wanted during the draw phase to play around Droll and Mockbird. But we're going to use the Wanted in order to add the Diabell Star. And now I am going to special the Diabell. Oh, no, it is 1.5, right, because you have to send the card, of course. So we'll send the Snake Eye Ash in hand, because we don't need it. Not going to need it. Alright, we're going to use the Diabell F in order to set the original Sin. We'll plop that down right over here. Okay, let's use Original Sin's effect in order to send off the Diabell. Now, even if I had another card on the field, I would actually want to send Diabell, because we're going to need literally every one of our monster zones in order to do this combo line. You don't have any room to leave an extra monster on the field for this. So, let's special summon the Snake Eye Ash to our field, and we're going to activate Snake Eye Ash's effect, but we are not going to be adding Poplar. Instead, I'm going to add the TG Rocket Salamander, which I will then subsequently normal summon. We can then activate the Rocket Salamander's effect to tribute itself and summon a TG of a different name from our deck. We're going to summon the level 1 TG Tank Grub. Now I can synchro for the TG Mighty Striker using the Tank Grub as well as the Snake Eye Ash on our field. And this will activate 2 effects. It'll activate the Mighty Striker effect to add a TG Spell or Trap from deck to hand, and it'll also activate Tank Grub's effect to summon a level 1 TG token in attack position. Chain blocking in this order to chain block the Mighty Striker Search. Although if our opponent had Nash Blossom, they probably would have used it on the Snake Eye Ash by this point. So we're going to want to add the TG All Clear, the spell card. After adding it, we're going to subsequently activate the TG All Clear. And then we'll use its effect, destroying our Mighty Striker in order to add the Screw Serpent from deck to hand. Now this will let us use the Mighty Striker's effect, and we get to send the Counter Trap TG Close from our deck to the graveyard. Okay, now from here, I'm going to summon the TG Screw Serpent. The All Clear gives me an extra normal summon for another TG monster, so that's why I'm able to do that. Now I get to use the Screw Serpent's effect to bring back a level 4 lower TG from the graveyard. Let's go ahead and bring back the Rocket Salamander. Now from here, we're going to Synchro Summon for 5. I'm going to summon TG over Dragonar using Screw Serpent and Rocket Salamander. Don't use the token. And it is very important to summon the Dragonar into the EMZ, the extra monster zone, because over Dragonar is going to let us summon all 4 of our TG monsters that are in our graveyard back to the field. Do note that this is the point in the combo where you are locked into only summoning TGs for the rest of your turn. So definitely make sure that we're keeping that in mind. Okay, next thing we're going to want to do is get our Hyper Librarian online so we can start drawing a ridiculous amount of cards. Go ahead and synchro the Screw Serpent with that level 1 token. We can go ahead and use that now. And I'll make the Hyper Librarian right over here. Now that we have a Monster Zone free, we can actually use the Rocket Salamander's second effect to special summon a level 4 lower TG monster from our graveyard. We're going to get it, we're going to get back, rather, the Screw Serpent once again. Alright, we're going to Synchro for 5 yet again. This time we're going to summon the TG Star Guardian using the Screw Serpent and the Rocket Salamander. Alright, we'll summon Star Guardian right over here. That will allow us to draw a card thanks to Hyper Librarian's effect. And with Star Guardian's effect, when it's special summoned, we're going to add back the Screw Serpent that's in our graveyard to our hand. Okay, that comes back. Very good. And then we get the first of our 3 draws off of Hyper Librarian. Now let's activate the Star Guardian effect to special summon a TG from our hand. That, of course, is going to be the Screw Serpent that we just summoned. Okay, from here we're going to summon another level 5 TG Synchro Monster. I played 2 copies over Dragonar, but you could use another level 5 non-tuner TG. I think exactly Power Gladiator is the only other one, but you could use that if you really wanted to. Get to draw our second card off of Hyper Librarian. Alright, from here, we're now going to make the Glaive Blaster. We're going to make that using Mighty Striker as well as both of our Over Dragonars. And then we get our third draw with the TG Hyper Librarian. If you wanted to, you could actually get a 4th draw by using the Wanted effect, and that would put back the original Sinful Spoils, and you would get to draw a card. I, however, prefer, I think, to leave it in the graveyard. I mean, to be fair, at this point, if you've already done all this, you're probably just going to do the Calamity Lock and win the duel anyway. But if for some reason you don't win the duel, you can use the original Sin to banish to add a Sync Eye Ash for a follow-up play, and then also get the draw off the Wanted. But again, if you really want the draw on this turn, you could also do that and draw 4 cards instead of just 3. But anyway, let's go ahead and make our TG Blade Blaster using the Star Guardian and the Hyper Librarian. Can throw that right over here. Okay, now I can use the Glaive Blaster to banish the Blade Blaster. And by doing so, that will activate both effects. We're going to want to use both of these effects. The Glaive Blaster is going to summon the Blade Blaster once again. And then the main reason we did this was to activate the effect of the Counter Trap Close to set it to our field. We can throw that right here. And we'll summon the Blade Blaster. Alright, so that's everything we need to do for this turn. You are going to want to have your toggle set to on as you move into the opponent's turn, because we're not actually done with our combo line yet. We actually have a few things that we need to do on the opponent's turn. Again, it is very, very important that you have your toggle set to on going into the opponent's turn. Because as soon as it hits their draw phase, literally as soon as we get priority in the draw phase, we actually need to keep continuing our combo line. So we're going to activate the Blade Blaster effect. This will allow it to banish itself as well as a card from our graveyard. We're going to banish the TG Mighty Striker. Okay, so I think we are... Yeah, we don't activate the Blade... We use the Glaive Blaster effect now, that's right. To summon one of the banished monsters. We're not going to summon the Blade Blaster. We're actually going to bring back the Mighty Striker here. Okay, so now we're good there. So now we'll move to the standby phase, and now by its own effect, Blade Blaster is going to come back during the standby phase. Alright, moving to main phase 1. Now, as soon as you get past priority during main phase 1, this will likely be after your opponent summons or activates the first card on their turn. But the instant you get priority, you're going to want to immediately activate the TG Mighty Striker effect. This will allow you to synchro summon the Crimson Dragon using Mighty Striker and Blade Blaster. Now, we're going to want to use the Crimson Dragon effect, but there is a nuance to doing this, and that is that you don't want to do this while your opponent has card effects on the chain link. Wait until, and again, this is why it's very, very important to have your toggle set to on. Wait until your opponent has finished the current chain link, and then, once you get the opportunity, once priority passes to you, now you want to activate the Crimson Dragon's effect. We'll target our Glaive Blaster as our level 12, put back the Crimson Dragon, and now we get the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with what this ridiculous card's ability is, when it activates, when this card is secret summoned, you can activate this effect for the rest of this turn. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects on the field, period. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's in response to this effect's activation. So, there you have it. Now that we've done that, our opponent can no longer activate cards or effects on the field, and this is effectively going to end their turn, right? And that's why I say it's effectively a turn skip. Now, your opponent might get one summon, but, you know, they're still having to effectively just pass into your turn on 8,000 attack points worth of monsters already on the field. The counter trap, if you didn't have to use it, which, by the way, if your opponent had some kind of quick effect during the middle of all this somehow, you could use the counter trap to just, you know, put a stop to it. As well as the other 4 cards you opened with and the other cards you drew. And also, if you didn't use it already, the wanted effect, the search for the follow-up Snake Eye Ash off the original Sin that's in the graveyard. So yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous play, if I do say so myself. So now that we've seen what the deck can do uninterrupted, let's see some games where I do get interrupted. Alright, our first duel is going to be against Vanquish Soul. Rather scary opponent, as if you look at the untapped data for Master Duel, you'll notice that Vanquish Soul is the highest win rate deck, especially at Diamond and Master rank, at those upper ranks. So, as you can see, we did open the DML star, so I am just going to go for the combo line we just demonstrated. I'm going to send the Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon that's in my hand, in particular because it's the least useful out of all of these. Like, of course, the, you know, Snake Eye Ash is there for follow-up, Imperm for disrupt, and then triple attack for follow-up and or disrupt, however we end up needing to use it. But yeah, since of course I just talked through this combo line, I'm not going to do it again here in this game. But one thing I will note is that after the 5th summon, my opponent started getting priority passed over to them. So, you know, I was fairly confident it was a Nibiru, but you never know. It could also be Labs Furniture or just some other quick effect that they're trying to bluff a Nibiru with. So, this combo line being as stringent as it is, I'm definitely going to want to just commit to it at this point. And my opponent very wisely elected to wait until I summoned the Over Dragonar and was TG locked before they dropped the rock on my face. Excuse me. Serendipitously, however, this rock does have 3k defense, so they can't just immediately battle through it. Now, that went a little quickly. I meant to pause it a little sooner there, but when I triple attacked and looked at their hand, the 4 cards were this guy's name, I can't remember. Raisin. Raisin, Mad Love, Stake Your Soul, and Continue. Continue being the quick play spell that lets them summon a Vanquish Soul from the yard, right? So, I was thinking about it, and it's like, you know, I could have put back Raisin or Mad Love, but if I do that, they can just use Stake Your Soul, reveal it, and then summon something from their deck. So I decided to put back the Stake Your Soul, and the main reason I did that as well is because of the Imper in my hand. Now I know that whatever they normal summon, I'm just going to flip the Imperm on, right? And then they'll only have the other normal summon and the Continue, plus whatever card they happen to draw for turn. So basically, this current setup, I'm forcing them to have a top deck here in order to kind of have further plays. So they're going to use the Raisin. I'm going to flip up Imperm. Negate that search, for sure. And on the off chance they drew a fire monster, it'll stop the other effect too. They're going to link off the Raisin for the rock. I kind of figured this was going to happen, you know. And then they go to activate Prosperity, but thank God they did it in the Imperm zone, because I really was not trying to deal with this Excavate here. Oh, I'm very, very glad for that. But, yeah, they're going to summon the Mad Love, add a Snow Devil, which I thought was rather confusing. I was really surprised they didn't add Stake Your Soul. I would have thought you would have wanted to Stake Your Soul. Maybe, I don't know. To be fair, they wouldn't have really had much to summon off of it, would they? Well, you could have summoned Mad Love. I would have Imperm, linked that for the rock. Add that back, Stake Your Soul. For the board share, I guess? I don't know. It's like a really weird situation. But anyway, They're just going to go for a Zeus. I don't know why they didn't attach the Dryden here. I mean, it wouldn't be an extra board wipe, but it would be an extra material, which could end up mattering very easily. So I'm just going to use this Snake Eye Ash here in order to bait out the Zeus board wipe. The Ash Blossom was a very, very good top deck. There are a lot of top decks that our opponent could have that would put them back in the game that Ash Blossom can stop. Such as Raisin, such as Mad Love. Maybe another pot card if they happen to have it. I don't know. But no, we're just gonna take care of that there. The Divine Temple is also a very, very good card to have here too. I really wanted them to pop the Flamber Dragon while I was in the spell trap, but nah. I didn't think they were going to. It's like, I think most people know not to do that by this point. But I am going to wait on activating the field spell, the Temple, until after the board wipe. That way I can put the Flamber Dragon in my spell trap, and now if they summon, I can pull the Flamberge into my monster zone. They don't, they're just going to turn the Zeus to attack mode, smack me for 3k. I top deck a Max C, but that's fine because I can just use the original Sin in my graveyard, and they just conceded here. I thought this was a really early concede because, like, I wasn't even super sure what I was going to do for follow-up. Because I guess my opponent didn't realize that, like, you know, having so many TG Synchro monsters in the extra deck means that I'm pretty limited in what my actual Link situation is like, right? So it's like I could have banished the original Sin, added the Poplar, specialed the Poplar. I don't know. And then what? Like, normal summoned either Maxi or Ash Blossom. And, like, Maiden IP, that doesn't really do anything, you know, it's like, that was a very early concede from them, but, yeah, like I said, the times where I did actually get to go into the Synchro combo, like, on ladder, my opponents would either concede halfway through the combo line, or, just had disruption, as our opponent had Nibiru here, so, yeah, that's mainly why I wanted to show off that combo line at the beginning too. But we do have a couple other games that are fairly engaging, mostly because I don't summon Calamity, go figure. Anyway, let's see those games. Okay, our next opponent is going to be on Monadium. Interestingly enough, they're still on the A Hero Lives package, which, I'm going to be frank, I didn't think that was right before the second wave of support, and I think it's definitely not right afterward too, but anyway. We're going to be going second here. Phenomenal going second hand. This is pretty ridiculous. So they special Defender and then normaled the right card. I decided to take a chance here and Droll instead of Max C. But then they have the triple tech. The main reason I Drolled instead of C is because I did have the Diabell Star. And knowing that they were probably about to link into the Lightheart, I know Droll is probably going to be enough to just end their turn. However, with the triple attack, things become a lot more awkward, because now, of course, they're going to take the Diabell Star, and I no longer have, like, guaranteed follow-up plays. They also get to Thrust instead of Imperm, which is super annoying. Although, to be fair, okay, to be fair, this is one of those decks where I don't agree with Thrust being in here at all. This archetype has, like, no power normal trap cards to set. I thought they were going to set a Twin Saw. I thought it was like regular Scareclaw, and they were about to set a Twin Saw, and I was like, oh, I'm fucked. I can't play through that. And then they set an Imperm instead, and I'm like, what? Okay, that's fine. But it's like, I don't know. Here's the thing about Thrust, especially in a deck like this, right? If you're going to use it to get a spell card, like what spell card in Monadium were they really looking to Thrust? Like, you could maybe argue Abscission, but it's like, you can combo without Abscission. And even if it's like, well, they could always get the Triple Tactics talent, this is why I say just play 3 Triple Tactics talent, or multiple talents, instead of Thrust and talent. Because again, you know, looking at their list, the Imperm is the only trap card for them to set. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to play Thrust, you gotta have a really, really good normal trap card to set. One that's better than Imperm. And again, even when it comes to spells, it's like, what do we really have to set that's better than Triple Tactics talent? Not a lot. So I don't understand why my opponent isn't playing more copies of Triple Tactics talent, but we're the luckiest player in the world, so we're just going to peel a Wanted. I mean, to be fair, we had a lot of one-card top decks there. 3 Diabell Star, 3 Wanted, 3 Snake Eye Ash, 1 1-for-1, to the 2 Snake Eye Poplar. That's 12 cards right there we could have ripped that were one-card plays, so I'm going to Imperm cross out the Imperm here, right, as the Diabell Star is coming down. Now, I figure they're probably going to use the Fenrir here. They actually almost would have been a little awkward for me if they didn't, to be frank. But they did, which is very good. I don't know why they did, because they know my last card is the Max C, so I can just normal summon that, go for Original Sin, pull out the Snake Eye Ash, and boom. Like that, I have plays. Now, I'm like, I went from having nothing to now, like, being fully confident I'm just going to end up winning this game. If not this turn, I can definitely win it in the long run. And this is, again, I think the really, really cool thing about this TG Snake Eye deck. Like, we have this big synchro combo line that you can do if you want to. But at the same time, if we end up getting disrupted, or if we need a follow-up play, which both things happened here, we were disrupted and as a result need a follow-up play, it's like, oh darn, my big synchros got you know, interrupted. I guess I'll just make a Snake Eye board. I'll settle for that, you know. It's like, it's so good. This is such a cool deck. I do have a full playset of Rocket Salamander, not just the one, so I do still want to try other TG variants, or maybe a more pure TG build possibly at some point. I will say that for this deck, this TG Snake Eye deck, which I gotta be real, and, you know, the purists out there probably aren't gonna like me saying this, but I do think this is probably just the best TG variant right now. Now, if we get IB, the level 5 Synchro, that might be a different story, because not only is that card really good, but as you can see, or as I guess more demonstrated during the combo line, this deck is, if nothing else, really, really good at spitting out level 5 Synchros. So, yeah, I'm going to use the Flamber Dragon to pull the Fenrir over to my board. I elected to do the Fenrir instead of putting my IP back to get in a little bit more damage, and also because I thought Fenrir could also serve as some good disruption here. They're actually going to tribute summon the Vysis. I actually have no idea why they did that, because they could have linked the Reichheart into the White Heart, but they didn't. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered, because either way, I would definitely Fenrir and Banish here. Their last card is going to be a Hero Lives for Prisma, and I am actually going to Flamberge and pop that, because I don't want it to copy Vysis or a Scareclaw monster and then make that Reichheart live. I get to proc both the Oak and the Poplar here for some more follow-up cards in hand. Now, they are actually going to get to summon the Scareclaw. Excuse me, the Scareclaw cache here. And on top of that... Oh, I see why they tribute summon the Vysis for the Astrolabe target. That's right. So they did get to extend a little bit more than I expected here, but, like, it's totally fine, honestly. Like, even as they conceded before I even had the chance to, but when they battle over Promethean Princess, you know, that just lets me activate the Ambler Whale effect in order to destroy the other monster there. But, I mean, even without that, I definitely had more than enough resources. It's kind of wild, actually, watching this game in particular, where we did our synchro line, got nibbed, and then we still came back so much here. But we still have another game to check out. Let us see that last duel here. Okay, last game is going to be against Snake Eye. I almost called it a mirror match, but they are not on TGs or Synchros, so it'll just be against Snake Eye. We're going to be going second yet again here. Got the Imperm, if nothing else. Although, you know, Imperm, pretty good in this meta, so... they're going to use the Wanted. They should have used it during the draw phase to play around Joel, but thankfully for them, I didn't have it. Especially the Diabell, activating the Diabell, setting the original Sin. You'll notice I did not use the Imperm. I don't think using Imperm against Diabell Star is good. I treat Wanted and Diabell Star and Original Sin the same way I treated Cashier Fenrir when that card first came out. I don't use my Ashes, Valors, Imperms, or any of that against any of those cards. Because if your opponent is playing that engine, they are going to have a better target later down the line. If it's pure Snake Eye, it's going to be Snake Eye Ash, but even if it's not Snake Eye, if it's just about any other deck, they're going to have other Ash, Valor, and Imperm targets. So don't use any disruption on Wanted, Diabell, or even, I don't know, Original Sin you can think about doing sometimes, but the main reason I like waiting is because a lot of the time it is going to be Snake Eye, and it's so easy to use your disruption on the Diabell Star stuff, and then they just normal summon Snake Eye Ash from hand anyway. So, but if you wait and negate the Snake Eye Ash effect, then you play around them just normal summoning another copy of it from their hand. Like as you can see here, my opponent kind of has to end on the field spell, Formula Synchron, and then Flambridge Pass. But this is still actually pretty good, because basically as soon as I summon, they get to pull the Flambridge out into the monster zone, and then make a Barrel and Defleur for the Omni Negate. And they'll even get to bring back a couple of monsters too. So, pretty annoying, but I do have my own field spell, so I'm actually going to start with that, and place my own Flambridge, but I don't know, I kind of think this might have been a misplay. My plan was to, you know, I summon, they activate, they summon, I activate, I summon. However, I don't know why they didn't do this either. When I go to use the field spell effect, they could chain the Flambridge effect and steal mine. I didn't even think about that until this happened. But then they didn't. They just used Formula Synchron and nothing else instead. And I was like, okay, we take those. Again, I don't know why they didn't take my Flambridge here, unless I'm missing something, but I don't think I am. I am thinking of the right effect, right? During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can trigger one monster treat as a continuous spell on the field. Special summon it to your field. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that, but that is definitely fine with me. They get the Baron. I'm going to summon my Flambridge. Their Flambridge gets to pull out a couple of level 1 fires. They get to add a Kurikara. That's actually going to be a little bit awkward, but you know, we'll just have to deal with it. I'm going to use the triple attack to force the Baron activation here. And that'll free up the rest of my hand from negations. Or so I think, until we get Ash Blossomed. That's going to be really, really awkward. As I now go from having a pretty secure line to... I don't think it would be lethal here, but if nothing else, it would be, you know, like a lot of stuff. To now having pretty much nothing, and definitely not looking ideal. I'm going to push their Baron into the spell trap zone, and then take it with my Flambridge here in a moment. Oh, no, sorry, I'm taking it with the field spell, that's right, because I didn't want to necessarily proc the Flambridge for Kurikara just yet. But fun fact, I actually get to use the Omni Negate. So that's pretty rad, even though my opponent used it, which I don't know if that's because it changed control, or if it moved into the spell trap zone. I think it's because it moved into the spell trap zone, because even though it's still on the field, that's weird. Because I feel like if I take control of it, I shouldn't be able to use it again. I feel like, yeah, definitely not. But even though it technically didn't leave the field, just went from the monster zone to the spell trap zone, I guess that counted, was enough. I'm not really using the negate here because there's not really much of a point, unfortunately. My opponent just has like so much gas, and they also still have that Kurikara in hand. So it's like, there's not really anything I'm able to do, honestly. They just have too much. I'm just going to have to end up conceding here, but... Alright, so that's going to do it for these games. Thank you so very much for watching them. Super appreciate it. Once again, got to give a couple of huge shout-outs to Kenny for showing off the TG Snake Eye build in our viewer special this week, and also got to give that shout-out over to Crowley12 as well for the combo guide. That was a very big help as well. So thank you both. Let us go ahead and now move to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for support there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.